This is Total Disruption Boardroom Battleground, where bold entrepreneurs step up and they put their businesses to the test.
Over the next 12 weeks, we'll push our contestants beyond their limits in branding, marketing, leadership, strategy, scalability, and profitability. Every move counts. Every misstep, a crucial lesson. Every victory, a moment to shine. Behind the scenes, a world-class production team will showcase their business like never before.
In the end, a single superstar is going to rise above the rest.
This is Total Disruption. Boardroom Battleground.
Welcome back to Boardroom Battleground. I'm Dr. Jake Clendenning. I'm a structure strategist, a systems evangelist, and a firm believer that if your business falls apart without you, it's not a business, it's a bottleneck.
And I'm Michael Libercci, execution junkie, tool tester, and the guy who's watched way too many entrepreneurs reinvent the wheel.
Last time, we talked about money, what's working, what's leaking, and who's willing to face the facts.
This week, it's about building. Something that works, something that holds up under pressure, and keeps moving when you're not watching and grows with you, not against you.
This is where order meets momentum, where clarity meets consistency, and where the future of each business depends on what's happening behind the scenes.
Some will rise, some will stall, and some will realize the biggest problem is how they built it.
We're watching it all in the boardroom through execution, growth, strategy, and leadership.
Let's see who's building for the long haul and who's still winging it.
So the building manager here is very, very generous. He's given me 2 or 3 very generous offers. But the bottom line is I told him that Upbeat can't afford what he's offering yet. And it doesn't matter how much he tries to lower the price, it's still out of our price range because it's still 2-3 times the amount of rent that we're currently paying. So we're just going to have to wait it out.
There's a lot of good things happening for her. And I don't know that she really appreciates that. A lot of people don't have these things fall in place like this.
Right.
And she really needs to hold on and own it and appreciate it and be like, listen, I got a 6-month plan to get out of my full-time. I don't know. I just feel that maybe she just thinks, I guess this is how it works. This is how easy it is for everybody.
Like if there's opportunities that are coming her way, that doesn't just happen to people. I actually feel like I was one of those people where a lot of opportunities came my way, but I moved into it and I took risks and I stepped into it. And I think that's why I was able to grow so quickly.
Sam has really taken a big plummet. She basically wasted Chad's coaching time, took all of his advice, crapped on his timeline, did nothing with the information, and she's tanking in the leaderboard because of it.
Although I know that other business savvy people would advise me to take out some loans to be able to expand quicker, it's not really how I want to run my business. I'd rather have us grow slowly at a rate that I can manage because it's my business and I can do whatever I want with it.
Now, she was cruising along, and her failure to install these systems and automations and processes has really hindered her progress in this competition. I find it hard to believe that you're getting financial advice and you're not putting it in play. Somebody's handing you the keys to the kingdom.
I haven't had to take out any loans. I've paid for everything here. Everything in the studio is mine. I own it. It came from my personal pocket, my hard-earned money. And that has set us up for success of, everything here is ours. We don't have to worry about things on loan. If something gets damaged, it's mine.
And you're just saying, okay, I know better. I'll make my own. I guess in some spheres that's okay, but in this one, it is definitely not helping you out at all.
Once we get into the homeschool community, that's great as well because kids can come at all hours of the day or take lessons at all hours of the day. But realistically, a large chunk of the population is not homeschooled. And so if we can get our outreach nationwide, that opens up several hours of the day that my teachers can fill up their schedule, make more money, Because that's what it's all about, you know, for them, is making a living in music. That's really important.
I think that she's got a lot of energy, and she's somebody that has the potential to really go far on social media with her passion and what she's wanting to do, especially with children. So I think she just needs a little bit of showing like some of the behind the scenes, showing like her journey and her process.
Samantha's got a great business plan. She's got a very formatted and structured of what she's doing, right? She has a facility, she has a schedule. What I don't see her doing related to creating the systems is I think the systems are created where the business is, not so much where the business is going to go, where it is 5 years from now. That's my perspective on where I see Sam in systems. She's very systemized, and she's not systemized for the growth part. She just hasn't demonstrated, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I don't see it, but she hasn't demonstrated really that her systems are built for 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that she's on a path to this is where she's going. She's running the system, running the play that she has. She's not trying to get to the touchdown. She's just trying to get to the first down.
I think she's a little overwhelmed and trying to balance her life, and it's hard. We've all, you know, if you've been there having a full-time job and this is what you're passionate about, and you're trying, and this is what's paying the bills, and it's a hard deal. So I think the upside is that she's a sponge. She's learning some things. She's got some people that really believe in it, and that helps. And hopefully, and she has had some wins with the new space and everything. So that's exciting. I think she really needs to take a step back to figure out what her real role is for the next 6 months.
I wish she would just open her mind and open her body up a little bit mentally and just let the energy out and then surrender and go with this process. Maybe she's not ready.
So any instructor can go in there, grab the book. They know what course they're teaching. They don't have to make up the drills. They know the principles of the drill, the principles of training for a course. So they can just teach that drill, and they know the principle of what we're trying to focus on, and they don't have to think about it. It's right there.
Where we see the biggest jump is between Mark and Corey. Systems and automations are paramount in both of their businesses. They've installed so many things. Mark has gone from I'm a gun guy to now I'm a business guy. It's an amazing transformation. He has his team on board. He has his speaking lined up. He has all the systems in place when people come into the range. He is really locked down. His marketing, his talking, even his language. It's fantastic to see his transformation. And I never thought let me back up. I did think it was possible, but I just thought Mark was so military stuck that it would take him a lot longer to assimilate to the other half civilian life as an entrepreneur. You know, he really left the frying pan and went into the fire.
I got to look at it today. My event coordinator has built a schedule that I got to approve today. And so with that said, that's having an actual strategy, because if it was left just to me, it won't get done. I'm too busy. So I'm really happy to have my wife and her come on to really help me, especially with the creative piece.
You're either going to stay at the level you're at, or you're going to gap up. And the antidote to that is going to be capital. So you're going to be forced with a decision on, do you take equity partners, or do you start learning how to manage business debt and grow using loans or credit lines? Because you're almost to the point where what you've done in the past isn't going to be good enough to get you where you're going in the future.
It's shaping. It's not completely molded yet. I've been burning the midnight oil quite a bit. So hence,
Yeah.
But it's shaping. So on the social media piece, we have a plan to at least deviate from, I think.
Okay. I think the positioning is really everything. And the way that you're positioning it, to me, looks great.
I'm really struggling to find that good flow, that good balance that I can replicate week in and week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. So that is what I've been really working on, to say, hey, Mondays are for this day, Tuesdays are for this day. I'll have all my meetings on, a Wednesday, and then we're going to go to the range and do some personal training and content creation on a Friday, once or twice a month, because if I'm not putting out that content, we're not getting the exposure that I want. So that is something I've been working really, really hard on, is to try to figure that out.
For the people that are on the fence, which is the majority of your sales for any business, the majority of those people, it's the little things that might keep them coming back. So we got one chance at a good first impression. Let's not waste it. I know you're going to have some great events and activities there, but at the same time, we have to keep our financial discipline and make sure that our operational systems can withstand that day.
That is where I'm trying to figure what is the best course of action, because in general, you can come up with a plan, take a course of action, but you can pivot off of it, right? But something like this is harder to pivot off of it, because it's pretty foundational. It's pretty rock solid. It's like, once you go down the path, that's the path. And so that's where I'm trying to figure out what the right thing to do is, not just for right now, but for 1, 3, and 5 years down the road.
I do think in the season overall, and I think as we've watched him progress, he does have a 5-year plan. He does have a 10-year plan. His systems may not have caught up to that yet. I think he's developing them and he's building them for that. I just don't think it's caught up to where he's going. He does have a bigger vision. We've seen the new facility, and he's got phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and yet it doesn't feel like he's necessarily running the systems now as if he was already in that space.
With Loving Is, I think we've been relying on intuition and alignment, because it's such a mission-driven project.
Corey's always out in front, right? Corey's this organized tech, AI, slick, mobile character that just sort of pops in and out of the Ethereum to come down to earth and deal with human beings when he needs something, right? So his embrace to the systems and processes we've laid out has been fantastic as well. So my money's definitely up between one of those two guys, regardless of what the leaderboard says.
What's really started to surface in the last couple of years is, how do we interact with it, especially as it's in this kind of toddler phase, this nascent phase? And it really is. We need to treat the technology as an extension of ourselves, but also as an extension of humanity. And when you're dealing with people, if you had someone that was working for you, you would never expect them to do a good job unless you trained them first, right? And for your child, you couldn't expect them to be capable and kind and things that we expect from those in our charge, if you didn't raise them to be like that. And so we look at these products on the market right now, the Claudes, the Chat GPTs, the Geminis, and sure, they were fine trained, and we had some very capable people working on them before they were released publicly. But at the same time, once they're released publicly, is when they're battle tested, right? And all of a sudden you have millions of people pushing buttons, kicking tires. And so how we interact with this technology kind of dictates how it is going to be with and for humanity in the next stages. And that was one of our day one theses a year ago at Loving is that we need to help people interact more lovingly with the technology. And in doing so, it could actually make humanity more loving to itself and each other.
So Corey's a systems dude. Like, everything he's building relative to Loving is or Loving AI is absolutely systemized. It has to be in order to build the machine intelligence. Now, as far as the business construct is concerned, they're going off of what has worked for them in other businesses in the past. My only concern in that one is, yes, it's a repeatable model in the sense that it's business, and it's a completely different animal. Like, this isn't just software. This isn't just a product. This is something completely different. So I think they're going to see some modeling have to change. Some systems are going to look differently than they would in their other businesses. But I think a little bit of that is they don't know what they don't know right now.
I know Corey's doing a lot, but I have no idea like what.
We patched him, of course, and he is almost better, ready to go back, and it's only been 6 weeks. So, when you get these bad, that's really what's converted our vet is into trying him for himself, is because the horses don't lie.
Emily's got a cultural identity. She definitely has systems and processes down, but I'm not so sure that she's not stuck in the sale mentality, sale, grow, get a rep mentality.
Are you struggling to show up for your family every day? Like, do you not have mental clarity, 100% energy, or do you have aches and pains of getting older?
She's got to get into the mentality of I'm a brand, I'm a person.
Well, I think that's it too. Like, even if asking for the referrals along the way and broadening that one lead to just not them, but who else do you know that would want this too?
She has to systematize the delivery for that brand. I feel like she could do a lot better and jump way up if she just adopted that principle, put her arms around it, and then boom, up she goes.
I think Emily will always be a customer of that company. I don't know if she's going to keep at it as a business for much longer if things don't start to pop off. So we'll see. But I think ultimately Emily's the real deal.
Belief comes before buy-in. And buy-in is what buy-in leads to confidence, and that's what people buy into you, your confidence, right? And I think she's turned a corner and really starting to believe in herself. She's building a team. She's got some great people to delegate. So I'm really proud of her. I've seen her really grow, more so in confidence about who she is, what she brings to the table, and that if somebody says, well, I got to think about it next, and she's good with that,
So Emily and her systems, as far as she's built them, I mean, she has the processes in place because that's with the company that she is working with, that she's the affiliate, the network, whatever you want to name it, they have a process in place with which to run it. Now, that doesn't mean that she can't put her own systems in place. She's got a great financial system because she comes out of the financial world. Her main systems she needs to work on, it's her lead generation. I still firmly believe that it's lead generation related to the community she already has built that already exists in that space. So that's my opinion. I think she just needs to systemize her outbound piece a little bit tighter because the other side's really, really easy. The orders are great. She knows exactly how to do that stuff. She knows how to convert. She knows how to follow up. It's systemizing the intake.
So she right now is doing this freelancing kind of like a CFO thing, and she hates it.
It's been kind of crazy with my fractional CFO stuff and a full-time gig I got into, and it's a disaster.
She's just, I think, a little bit burnt out on trying so hard to help people so much and having people just not want anything to do with it. And I think, unfortunately, and I told her this the first time we ever met, it's because it's an MLM. People hear MLM and they're done. They hear upline, they hear Tupperware parties or whatever it is. And it's like, everyone's been burned by those before. No one's ever actually made money with any of them. They're all garbage. The people that drink the Kool-Aid fully and see their couple $1,000 a month or whatever, all hate it after a few months. And so I think Emily may have been a little isolated from how bad most MLMs are and what people think about them. It does feel like this one is as different and better as can be, except they're still doing everything the same way everyone else does. And so I think she's going to continue to have this frustration.
I'm looking at affiliates. I've got software that I use every day. One that comes to mind is called Privy. It's $125 a month. I get 20% of that for anybody who signs up under my affiliate account. If I had 1 million people following me and 10,000 people signed up for that, I'd be retired, So it really is about building these systems around, yes, I've got some high-end coaching packages that are great. And yes, I could sell the course for a little bit less, but what I really want to monetize is the following. And trying to focus on how do you build the YouTube subscriber base, the email list, all those people who know your name in this space and will either recommend you or will purchase from you. And if you've got enough of those people, you don't need to work anymore. Now you can just pursue your passion and interest. You don't have to worry about charging. That really is the vision. Could I give my knowledge away for free? Well, I could if I had enough followers where enough of them would monetize to make it worth my while.
Donnie is doing a lot of transactions, but Donnie is not really growing his actual business. He's growing in revenue, he's growing in acquisitions, but he's just not, his business in and of itself is still the same. I feel like he's not following the advice correctly. He's not doing all the things he needs to be doing with systems, and especially on the back end. The guy's running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he's got to stop. Otherwise, his blood will get everywhere and make a complete mess.
My brain's going to explode if I take on any more projects right now.
Donnie has a lot of systems. He's got his 4Fs. We absolutely know that that's true. And that is a system. His coaching business is systemized. And I think he has a similar problem and a similar situation to everybody else, with the notable exception to Corey, that his systems are designed for where he is now.
As far as his social media system, I think it could use a little bit of work. I know that he has every intention of putting out content, but just being more consistent with that. And he's shared that. He knows that. So I think it's something that he's working on.
And I guess I keep rolling into this, and I'm thinking scalability of where these guys are at. And I think Donnie's suffering from that a little bit too. And in order for Donnie to build the systems bigger to go where he needs to go, he's actually got to go backwards. He's actually got to put a couple of foundational pieces in that they've got to happen, right? We know the strongest form in the world is a triangle, and he right now he's got kind of a bipod. We need to tie that bottom together. It's not fully linked all the way with a couple of components, and they're not fun. They're not sexy. They're not cool things that everybody's like, man, I can't wait to get up in the morning and do that thing. But he's got to do them.
The thing is, because he'll share that he has a team and but I don't know who's doing what, right? So is it like you're doing everything, which, I know how that is, right?
He's got to dig backwards, and he's got to do those couple of things, and that'll tie it together. Once he's got that tied together, his foundation is solid and his systems are scalable.
You got to start delegating. You got to identify and challenge those people to see who's going to run with the ball that you could trust to support you, because you're the visionary. You got to be focused on the main thing is the main thing.
Total disruption. Contestant ratings.
So Mark is holding the lead because of the growth in the systems that he's been following throughout the season. He's been super consistent in what he's doing. We know that Corey's systems and his potential for his success is really well stated. And we know that he's got some significant growth ahead of him. He's still not quite in launch phase yet from a revenue standpoint, but his processes and his people and his leadership are keeping there. Whereas one of the big dangers right now, Sam's still afraid to commit to her dream, to commit to what's going on. That fear is holding her, that's keeping her in that job. Her stubbornness, she doesn't want to commit to her plan, even though it's a good plan, but that's going to drop her out this week and drop her down that list. Next time on Boardroom Battleground.
It's not about your systems. It's about your customers.
I have taught as their music director. They've reached out to me personally for voice lessons.
This is 3 fingers off the trigger.
Are you building loyalty or just fulfilling transactions?
Because it's just healing them.
Because experience is everything. And if you don't create it, someone else will.
That's exactly what we're building.
Let's see who understands how their business appears to the rest of us and who can't see past their nose.
Today wasn't about the big moves. It was about the quiet ones. the behind the scenes work that makes or breaks your ability to grow.
Some contestants finally laid a foundation they could build on. Others still stuck trying to do everything themselves. One Band-Aid at a time.
Systems are not glamorous, but they are what turn chaos into consistency and vision into reality.
The ones who embrace structure today gained more efficiency. They gained breathing room, scalability, and sanity.
Next week, the focus shifts again, and for what happens inside the business to how it looks on the outside.
We're diving into winning customer experience, service, loyalty, emotional connection, the stuff that keeps people coming back.
Because a great system doesn't mean anything if your customers don't feel it.
Let's see who can turn operational control into real-world impact.